All right, so the mic you're listening to is the Zoom ZDM-1, and I've actually really liked this mic since I first got it, turned it on, listened to it. Straight out of the box, it sounds really, really good compared to, I guess, the Audio Technica AT2040, which is kind of flat. This one has some pretty distinct upper frequencies to really bring out your voice. And the fact that it's 49 bucks right now is pretty insane. Let's talk about it a little bit. So it's a vocal mic for podcasting and music. It's basically a dynamic mic, so similar to your Shure SM7Bs, etc. Same concept. That dynamic vocal quality you get with these is pretty good, especially if you're in a noisy room. So imagine you're in a kitchen or a living room which doesn't have a lot of sound prevention, so it doesn't have curtains. It's basically just your walls, flooring, like wood floors, etc. You're gonna get a lot of echo with a condenser mic. So a condenser mic is gonna pick up a lot of that because it picks up everything. Now a dynamic mic, which you're listening to, is a pretty close proximity mic, so that'll definitely help out. Now, vice versa, if you're in a studio environment, like you're trying to get some good singing and vocal quality, you're going to want something like a condenser. So that AT2020, AT2040, or AT2035s are really, really good mics. Again, for podcasting, probably one of the best starter mics you can get. I'm putting my name on that for sure. Yeah, so keep unwanted sounds out. So shock absorbent. You hear it a little bit. I can hear it. It's not terrible though. So tapping on the keyboard or typing, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Yeah, as far as the body goes, it's pretty solid. So this is the box that it comes in. Can't see that, but whatever. And then inside the box, I have another one I bought too. Basically gonna get a microphone, and it does come with this pop filter. Getting a pretty solid, take this off. Yeah, so really solid, great quality, metal body. Has an attachment for your microphone stand, and I think it does come with the adapter. But yeah, so pretty much connected to any, and then of course it's your XLR input. So not a USB, but XLR, which is what you want typically from these dynamic mics. So again, what's included, you're going to get the microphone, windscreen or pop filter, whatever they want to call it, mic stand mount, which is already attached to it. I think you could take it off, but really there's no reason, because otherwise you'd have to get a separate mount anyway. And then a mic adapter with that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So like I said though, 50 bucks, pretty insane. So I will leave a link when I do the video. I will leave a link to this in the description, and you can go check it out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to compare these. Let's go back here. All right, so I have this guy, right? And I have this one connected to the, so main thing is this is connected to the Rode Procaster. You can use any type of XLR interface, either works. So now you're listening to the Shure SM7B, which is also a dynamic mic, which ranges between $400. So this is on the flat setting. So basically flat across the board. It does give you an option to add a high pass filter, which will eliminate some of the low end frequencies, and then also boosting some of the high end frequencies for your deeper voice people like myself. But I personally like the sound of this. I find for my voice though, it's a little bit too deep in most of the frequencies, so I always have to adjust in post, or by removing the low end with that high pass filter. So, but again, this one's $400. Most people that start off probably wouldn't want to spend that. I wouldn't recommend that, especially if you have a mic like the Zoom. So now I'm going to go back to the Zoom. All right, so now we're back on the Zoom ZDM-1. Again, this is a $50 mic. When it's not on sale, it's an $80 mic, so that's not even terrible. It's actually really, really good if it were at 80 bucks, because the next mic I'm going to show you is this guy, which is the Audio Technica. Can't see that, but AT2040 hypercardioid mic. I don't think it sounds anywhere close to as good as this one, in my opinion. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, going through the Rodecaster Pro with 0 audio processing. So this is pretty much straight out of the box what you're getting, which is perfect. And that's what you want to test microphones. Now, what I will say is when you do add, either post-processing or effects to this, it makes it sound even way better. I've used it quite a bit in my videos. All right, so this is the AT2040 by Audio Technica, another dynamic microphone. This thing will cost you about $100 for the most part, and you can get it anywhere. I think this came out earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. And first impressions when I first opened it up out of the box, it's pretty flat, I guess, in my opinion. The microphone doesn't have that higher frequencies, that kind of like podcasty style, I guess you could say. But I mean, it's a great mic. You just have to add a lot of. It's a great mic. You just have to add a lot of stuff in post, right? So for it to be something that people really want to enjoy to hear, you have to add a lot of stuff. And I think for the most part, if you're using something like Voicemeeter to boost any high frequencies or give it some EQ, essentially, you're not going to want to use this straight out of the box with a flat, no processing. That's just my opinion. But anyway, this is the AT2040 by Audio Technica. We are back on. That's another thing too I noticed about this is it doesn't have as much. It's not as gain hungry as the SM7B, but it does need that gain. So if you're using something like the Rodecaster, you're perfectly fine. I mean, I would hope that it does all that or gives you some boost with something like a $500 price tag, right? But if you're using regular audio interface, a Focusrite Scarlett or something like that, now they can push an SM7B, but you're gonna need some post-processing to get rid of that noise that you're gonna get. But I think this will do really well because you don't have to have it maxed out. When you max out an audio interface, you're pretty much asking for it to have noise. So if you're able to dial that back a little bit, you're perfectly fine. So